Study the information carefully to answer the given questions. Okay, now see what the data is about. A chartered accountancy firm having 450 employees has sent all its employees for training in one or more areas among HRM, computer skills and financial skills. The employees are classified into two categories, officers and executives, in the ratio of 4:5. 10% of the officers take training only in computer skills. 16% of the executives take training only in HRM, which is equal to the number of officers taking training in only in financial skills, and so on. And 40% of the officers are taking training in HRM, and on, right? There's a lot of data there. So let us first understand what the data is all about, right? So if you see, he's talking about an accountancy firm which has got 450 employees. So that's point number 1 to be noted. These employees have been sent for training in one or more areas. Now this is the other point which all of you need to understand, right? One or more areas. One or more areas. Among what areas? Among HRM, computer skills and financial skills, right? The employees are classified. These employees here are classified into two categories, officers and executives. So that's the next point that you need to understand. And they have been classified in these two categories in what ratio? 4:5 ratio. So you start with all these important points. So 450 employees who are in two categories, officers and executives, the ratio is 4:5. So can we find out the number of officers and number of executives? Yes. You must be able to do that calculation mentally. Understand, 450 is the total value. The ratio is 4:5. So if you have gone through our ratio and proportions video, you would know that 450 should be divided into how many parts? 9 equal parts. 4 parts plus 5 parts. 4 plus 5 is how much? 9. So divide 450 in 9 equal parts. 450 by 9. How much is 450 by 9? 50. Yes or no? 450 by 9 is 50. So each part is equal to 50. You're getting it? Each part is equal to 50. 450 by 9 is 50. Each part is 50. How many are officers? 4 parts. Each part is 50. 4 parts would be 200. So I can straight away say that there are 200 officers. Each part is 50. Executives have got 5 parts. 5 into 50 is 250. So the number of executives are 250. You're getting it? So within no time, it's a no-brainer actually. You must be able to do it mentally, that there are 250 executives and 200 officers. And there are three categories: HR, computer skills and financial skills. Remember, employees have been sent in one or more areas. So they can be in only HR or only computer skills or only financial skills, or more areas, which means some employees can be in HR and computer skills, some can be in HR and financial skills, some can be in computer skills and financial skills, and a few of them can be in all the three areas, right? So instead of drawing those Venn diagrams and all that, let's keep it simple. I'll give you an easier way of getting the answers there. Don't draw the Venn diagram. In my view, drawing those, I mean, there are some cases where we actually have to draw the Venn diagram, I mean, set theory based questions, but I think this can be done even without a diagram there, even without a Venn diagram. You just make a simple table. How do you do that? So on the columns here, on the y axis, let's take officers and executives. There are two types of employees, right? Officers and executives. Again, you can cut it short, write O and E. How many officers? 200 officers. How many executives? 250 executives. Now we are going to distribute these officers and executives in various categories. What are the various categories possible? Let me just draw a simple table here. What are the various categories? Only HR or HRM. How many officers only in HR? How many executives only in HR? Then the next category is computer skills. How many in computer skills? Then the next one is financial skills. Remember, these are only HR, only computer skills and only financial skills. Now there can be combinations. What are the combinations? HR plus computer skills, HR plus financial skills, or computer skills plus financial skills. And there's one more category. What is that? All three: HR plus computer skills plus financial skills. So there are total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 categories. Are you able to follow? Remember, it is not a rule that each cell here should have a value. Some of them can be 0, right? You must be very clear with all these points. So I now know that there are 200 officers and 250 executives, and these officers and executives are distributed across these categories. So only HR, only CS, only FS, HR and CS only, HR and F only, C and F only, and then H, C and F. So 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2 and 3. You're getting it? Important points to be noted are the sum of all these cells in the first row or in the top row should be 200 because total officers are 200. Similarly, sum of all the cells in the bottom row should be 250. Okay, now let's start filling the gaps. 10% of the officers take training only in computer skills. Only in computer skills. Now let me tell you one very important point to be noted here is the word only. Only is like only, simple word, right? But it has got a lot of prominence here, right? Only can change the meaning completely. You're able to follow? Only can change the meaning completely. I can crack the SBI PO exam is one statement. Only I can crack the SBI PO exam is a completely different statement, right? I can crack SBI PO is confidence. Only I can crack SBI PO is overconfidence. You're getting it? So the word only will change the meaning completely. It's got a lot of power in it, right? And that's what happens here also. See, he says 10% of officers take training only in computer skills. They do not take training elsewhere. Only in computer skills is this region, right? Now 10% of officers, 10% of officers, 10% of 200 is 20. So 20 comes here. 10% of officers take training only in computer skills. 20 comes here. Done. 16% of executives. Now this is these calculations must be done very quickly. 16% of executives. 16% of executives is how much? 250, right? So 16% of 250. How do you calculate 16%? 16% is not 16%. 16% is 10% plus 6%. 10% plus 6%. 10% of 250 is 25. 6%. How do you get that 6%? 1% is 2.5. 6% will be 2.5 into 6, which is 15. So 25 plus 15 is 40. So I know that 16% is 40. Remember again, because I'm reading it out, it is taking a lot of time. If I have to do it mentally, I'll save a few more seconds. 16% of 250 is 40. It will take about 3 to 4 seconds, not more than that. In fact, 2 to 3 seconds, not more than that. 16% of 250. 16% of 200, 32. 16% of 250, 40. 16% of 250, 40. Or there's one more way of doing it. I mean, see, you when you practice every day, you will get all these ideas, right? Instead of calculating 16% of 250, I'll tell you another way of doing it. Instead of taking 16% of 250, you better take it as 25% of 160. If you have gone through our percentages video, you would know that this is a very important law. A% of B is equal to B% of A. So instead of taking 16% of 250, let me take 25% of 160. Tell me which is easier? Definitely 25% of 160 is easier. 25% is 1/4. 1/4 of 160 is 40. 16% of 250 is also 40, but it takes a little longer to arrive at that 40 when compared to this 40. So this is smart, I would say, right? You have to think divergently, and that can happen only when you have practiced a lot. Okay. So 16% of executives, which is 40, take training only in HRM. Only in HRM. How many executives? 40. Which is equal to the number of officers taking training only in financial skills. So this value is equal to the number of officers taking training only in financial skills. So number of officers in financial skills is equal to the number of executives in HRM. You're able to follow? Which is equal to the number of officers in only in financial skills. Now look at next point. 40% of officers and 40% of officers, 40% of 200 is equal to 80 are taking training in HRM and financial skill both. Remember, HRM and financial skill. Where is HRM and financial skill? This region. How many? 40%. 40% of 200 is 80. 6% of the total employees. Now look at this. 6% of total employees. He's not talking about officers or executives. Total employees. Total employees are what? 450. 6% of 450 will be 4.5 into 6, right? So that's like 27. So 6% of total employees, 27 employees are taking training in all three areas. All three areas. What are all three areas? This. How many? 6% of 450. 6% of 450, like I told you, is 27. Now why did I write 27 here? Because I know that sum of these two is 27. How much is in each cell is not known to us as of now, but total 6% of the employees are in all the three. So 27 employees are working in all the three departments, all the three trainings here. But then look at the next part of it. It says 6% of the total employees are taking training in all three areas, and of these 27, 2/3 are officers. Now what is 2/3 of 27? 2/3 of 27 is 18. 18 are officers. If 18 are officers, obviously remaining 9 are executives, because 18 plus 9, 27 has to be balanced. Next point, 10% of total employees. 10% of total employees is how much? 45, right? 10% of total employees is 45, 450. 10% of 450, 45. Are taking training in HRM and computer skills both. 10% of total employees is 45. 45 is in HRM and computer skills both. HRM and computer skills is 45. But which is how much? We don't know. So we'll write total as 45. The number of officers taking training only in HRM. Number of officers taking training only in HRM is 25% of number of executives taking training only in HRM. So officers in HRM is this. This is equal to 25% of those executives who are taking only in HRM. So how many executives are in only HRM? 40. Number of officers is 25% of 40. You're able to follow? Number of officers in HRM is 25% of executives in HRM. So 25% of 40. What is 25% of 40? 10. You getting it? The number of officers taking training only in HRM is 25% of number of executives who are taking training only in HRM. 20% of total number of employees. 20% of total employees. 20% of total number of employees is how much? 90. Total employees is 450, right? 20% of 450 is 90. Are taking training only in computer skills. 20% of total number of employees are taking training only in computer skills. Only in computer skills is how much? 20%, which is 90. 20% of 450 is 90. Now 90 employees are taking training only in computer skills. I know that number of officers taking training only in computer skills is 20. So obviously the remaining should be 70, because 20 plus 70, 90 has to be balanced. So this is how you fill the gaps. Next point, number of executives taking training in HRM and financial skills both. HRM and financial skills both, this part. He's talking about this cell now, right? Executives in H plus F is 20% of total number of executives. This is equal to 20% of total number of executives. Total number of executives is 250. 20% of 250 is 50. 50 comes here. There is no such executive who takes training in both financial skills and computer skills, but not in HRM. See, understand, financial skills plus computer skills is this region. So when you say financial skills and computer skills, it is obvious that it does not have HRM, right? This is financial and computer skills only, which means financial skills plus computer skills, but not HRM. So he says there is no such executive. There is no such executive who takes training in financial skills and computer skills, but not in HRM. So this is 0 actually, right? This is equal to 0 is what he said. Among the employees who take training in both HRM and computer skills, but not in financial skills. Now understand the region first. HR and computer, but not financial. HR and computer and not financial is this region, right? HR and computer, but not financial is this region. The ratio of officers to executives is 1:8. The ratio is 1:8 between these two. Officers to executives. So top part is 1, the bottom part is 8. I already know that total number of people here is 45. Divide 45 in this ratio. How many parts? 1 plus 8, 9 parts. Divide 45 in 9 parts. Each part will be 5. Right? Each part will be 5. So 1 part will be 5, 8 parts will be 40. Done. I think we are done. Now if you see, still there are gaps. What is the gap? C plus F here and financial skills here. But how do we fill this now? I know that total should be 200 of all these values. Total should be 250 for all these values. Just balance it out. So 10 plus 20, 30, 30 plus 40, 70, 70 plus 5, 75, 75 plus 80, 155, 155 plus 18, 155 plus 18 is 173. So what should come here so that total becomes 200? 200 minus 173. How much is 200 minus 173? 27. Similarly, balance the bottom row also. 40 plus 70, 110, 110 plus 40, 150, 150 plus 50, 200, 200 plus 9, 209. Out of 250, if 209 have occupied the remaining cells, this cell will have 250 minus 209, which is 41. And you're done. Once you have filled this, you're ready to answer the 5 questions. Remember, do not go by the length of the explanation or the amount of time that I've taken to arrive at the answer. I am explaining this to you. I am not solving it for myself. When I have to solve it for myself, I'll cut down a lot. I'll cut down the explanation part. You just quickly fill the gaps. Let us now look at the questions, right? So lengthy, but yeah, if you just do it in a step-by-step process, it will be very easy. And at least I believe that it is better to simply draw a table and do it instead of drawing a Venn diagram. I mean, nothing wrong in drawing a Venn diagram. You can draw a Venn diagram also, but why? For me, drawing a straight line is much easier than drawing a circle. Your call. You decide which is easier for you, right? It makes sense. I'm not saying that it doesn't make sense in drawing a Venn diagram, but why? Do what is comfortable for you, right? I mean, don't follow that you have to draw a table only blindly. Your choice. Let's now answer the questions. Question number 1. How many executives, now questions are very important. You have to focus on the words here. How many executives are taking training in financial skills? How many executives are taking training in financial skills? Executives in financial skills. See, this is financial skills. Executives in financial skills. How many? 41. So don't mark 41 as the answer. It will be wrong. I mean, if you have marked answer as 5th option, none of this, you are probably wrong. I mean, assuming that you have marked the answer as none of this because you got 41, then you are wrong. Because remember, the question did not ask how many are taking training in financial skills only. The question says how many are taking training in financial skills. You're able to follow? 41 is the number of executives who are taking training in financial skills only. But is that only word given here? Remember, I told you only is not only. Only is very powerful. So number of executives taking training in financial skills. Take all the areas: financial skills, HR plus financial skills, computer skills plus financial skills, and HR plus computer skills plus financial skills, because finance comes here in all these 4 cells. So how many executives? 41 plus 50. 41 plus 50 plus, this is anyway 0 and this is 9. 0 plus 9. How much is that? 41, 50, 91 plus 9, 100. 100 should be the answer. 100 should be the answer. Which option? 5th option, none of this. So anyway, even by 41 you are getting none of this. But my question is, did you mark none of this because you have got 41 or because you have got 100? You are lucky that option 5 is still the answer. But the actual value is 100, not 41. Next question. How many officers are taking training in computer skills? Same argument again. Don't mark officers in computers as 20, because he did not ask computer skills only. He is asking for computer skills. So computer skills is 20. Add all the values, all the possible values. 20 plus this 5 here, that also involves computer skills, plus this 27 here involves computer skills, plus the 18 here. Yes or no? 20 plus 5, 25, 25 plus 27, 52, 52 plus 18 is 70. Right? 70 would be the answer. Option 5 again. Right? Next question. How many executives are taking training in HRM but not in computer skills? Now this is important. How many executives are taking training in HRM but not in computer skills? Now what do you mean by this? Again, focus on this part. How many executives are taking training in HRM? Executives in HRM. What will you count executives in HRM? 40 plus 40 plus 50 plus 9. But then he says they should not be involved in computer skills. So we should remove those regions which have got computer skills. So HRM but not computer skills. So HRM is this. Look at this. 40 is HRM and not computer skills. So 40 can be added. Plus, can this be taken? Can this 40 be taken? No, it cannot be taken because this involves computer skills. We don't want computer skills. Can this 50 be taken? Yes, because it is HRM but not computer skills. Plus 50. This is anyway not needed. And can this be taken 9? Can this 9 be taken? No, because this is HRM but also computer skills. We don't want computer skills. So 40 plus 50, 90 would be the answer. Right? 90 will be the answer, which is option 5. Remember, you cannot include this 9 here because we don't want to consider computer skills, not computer skills. 9 cannot be taken. So 90 is the answer. Next question. What percent of total number of officers? Total number of officers. Total number of officers 200, right? Total number of officers 200. So what percent of 200? Let me replace this 200. What percent of 200 are taking training in financial skills but not in HRM? Again, officers who are in financial skills but not HRM. So similar to the previous one, but here there is one extra calculation to be done. So first find out financial skills but not HRM. Financial skills but not HRM will be 40 plus financial skills plus not HRM. This cannot be considered. Yeah, plus 27. That's it. 40 and 27, right? This value and this value. Because we want financial skills. We don't want HRM. So this cannot be taken because this involves HRM. This can be taken because it is financial skills and not HRM. And again, 18 cannot be taken because it involves all three. So 40 plus 27 is 67. So now the question becomes, what percent of 200? This can be replaced with 67. What percent of 200 is 67? X is what percent of Y? X by Y. What is X here? 67. What percent of Y is X, or what percent of, are you able to follow? What percent of Y is X? X by Y in 200. Remember, what percent of Y is X, or X is what percent of Y. Instead of giving X is what percent of Y, he has given what percent of Y is X. Answer remains what? X by Y in 200. So your answer should be 67 by 200 into 100. Which is very simple calculation, right? Half of 67, which is 33.5%. 33.5%, which option? Option 5, none of this. Last question. How many employees are taking training in financial skills? How many employees? Remember, employees. Employees means both officers and executives. So be careful with the terms there, right? Employees versus officers versus executives. Financial skills versus only financial skills and things like that. So how many employees are taking training in financial skills? So financial skills, 40 plus 41. Employees he says, right? So 40 plus 41, both officers and executives. And what else is financial skills? This also is financial skills. Plus 80 plus 50. Plus this also is financial skills, 27. And this also is financial skills, plus 18 plus 9. Add this and get the answer. So 40 plus 41, 81, 81 plus 80, 161. I'll add 9 first. 161 plus 9, 170, 170 plus 50, 220, 220 plus 27, 247, 247 plus 18 is 265. Option 3 would be the answer. So I think the answers are 5, 5, 1, 5, 3. Right? Of course, we have discussed everything in detail, so you can just follow the same.